Viral images have been circulating for the last day and a half of Donald Trump sitting down with French President Emmanuel Macron with a gigantic bruise on his hand. Now, the White House has, of course, said that, hey, listen, Donald Trump has a giant bruise on his right hand because, he spent the whole day vigorously shaking hands with all sorts of people. So, obviously, you're going to have a bruise on the back of your hand after shaking hands with people. Now, that doesn't make much sense, does it? Unless they're shaking his hand and then pounding the other side of it, you're not going to get a bruise on the back side of your hand. And that bruise was obviously there long before Donald Trump's 6-second handshake with Macron, which of course did get a little vigorous, because at the time it was already covered in makeup. You see, that's the part of the story the White House leaves out, but you can clearly see from the zoomed in images that yes, they tried to cover up the fact that he had this gigantic, unsightly bruise on the back of his hand. Now, there's lots of speculation going around. What could this be? How did it happen? Was it the handshakes? Did Donald Trump backhand somebody? Did he, drop an anvil on it like a cartoon character? Any one of those things, I guess, is possible. But those who know. Because when I saw that image, when I saw the headline, clicked on the story, and I saw that picture, I immediately knew. Anyone that has ever themselves had heart problems or has had a relative or friend have serious heart problems, you know exactly what that bruise is. That's blood thinners at work, folks. I see it every time I see my father. He's been on blood thinners for years and years and years, and every time I see him, even if it's just been hours between, there's a new bruise. There's a new cut. I accidentally, tapped my arm against a door, and now there's a gigantic bruise because I'm on blood thinners. Not enough to break the skin, so you're not just openly bleeding, but definitely enough to leave a bruise because of the blood thinners. To me, that is exactly what that looks like. I have seen it too many times in my own life with my own family members, not just my father, but other family members. I know what the blood thinner bruising looks like. And to me, that is exactly what that is. So now the question is, what's he got? Right? You don't just get blood thinners because you go to the doctor and say, hey, doc, my blood is there's a little sluggish. How about you thin it up a little bit? Let's really get it firing through the body here. That's not what happens. You get put on blood thinners because there are serious problems. So unless Donald Trump recently had a hip replacement or a knee replacement and needed to go on blood thinners for that, I think we can rule that out, by the way. We would notice if he was suddenly not able to walk for weeks. I think we're looking at either pulmonary problems or, of course, heart problems. Now, blood thinners can be prescribed for a host of different things, all of them very serious. At the lower end, you've got things like deep vein thrombosis, and on the upper end, you could have things like clogged arteries, you could have valve issues, you could have atrial fibrillation, you could have pulmonary thrombosis, blood clots just in your blood in general. All of which, of course, are exceptionally serious medical conditions. And they're all medical conditions that seem very likely for a man whose main diet is fast food and has been for decades, right? Like, all of this makes total sense in that regard. Now, I am not a doctor. And even if I were a doctor, I still would not have personally been able to examine Donald Trump. I haven't seen his blood work. I don't think any real medical professionals have in recent years. Other than, of course, whoever is pulling the strings behind the scenes to keep this man moving at age 78. But something is not right. Even if the bruise did come from the handshakes, that still shouldn't be able to happen, right? That would still be, emblematic of blood thinners, causing you to bruise on the back of your hand after just a vigorous handshake. A normal person on, not on medication is not going to see that happen. So that's my diagnosis, even though, again, I'm not a doctor, not claiming to be, but I've seen that too many times in my life, and I know a lot of people watching this have too, and you probably had the exact same thoughts that I did. There's something serious happening inside of that man, and the White House is not being honest about it. Thanks for watching today, everybody. And don't forget, if you're not already, please do subscribe to this channel. We have fresh content going up every single day, and I would really hate for you to miss out on that. And speaking of missing out, if you're not following me across all other social media outlets, then get on it. You can follow the links in the description of this video.